Savvy Business Radio, drawing out the best from our guests with our host, Christina Nichman.
Our guest today is Christine Lusita, celebrity health coach, TV health and fitness expert, and behavior change specialist with an emphasis on everyday health. Today she shares her latest book, The Right Fit Formula. Find out more about Christine and her book at christinelusita.com. Hi, Christine. Welcome to Savvy Business Radio. How are you today?
Hello, Christina. How are you? I'm so happy to join you today.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here today. You're going to join us to talk about your wonderful weight loss program and your book, The Right Fit Formula. It's the match.com for weight loss, I hear. It's funny. We talked before our interview here that so many of our listeners are in the 40 to 50-year-old range, and myself included. We go through times where our body is failing us. We're like, what happened? In my 20s, I could go off of no sleep and go to the bars and drink all night long and dance and have fun, and my body just kept up. But as we get older, things start falling apart, and we're like, what do we have to do? This is when we start paying attention to our body and giving it the love we should have given it probably years earlier. But you help people realize that there's not one size fits all, and we're going to go to that. But before we head on to all the great details of your book and what you offer people, share a little bit about your backstory and how you came to working with weight loss and nutrition.
Sure. Since I was about 13, I started struggling with my weight. I've grown up in an Italian family where you eat for every emotion and you eat for every occasion. Let's just say that started to add on to me. And so early on, I was struggling with my weight. I've never had a 6-pack, nor a 4-pack, or actually a 2-pack, as a matter of fact. And I'm totally okay with that now. But I had spent so much time and energy trying to chase what worked for someone else. I did Jane Fonda tapes obsessively, and I would want to look like Cindy Crawford. I even hired her trainer once.
Wow.
And I was always trying to look for something outward that would help build balance in my life. And unfortunately, I came across so many different diet plans and nutritionists that would tell me ketchup is bad, bananas are bad, burgers are bad, peanut butter is bad, everything is bad. Yeah. And that just drove me to insanity. I have a perfectionist type personality. So at one point in my life, I was eating Apple Jacks for like 3 months.
Whoa.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yes, isn't that insane? Because I just wanted to be able to manage calories because everything that everyone told me I was doing was wrong. And that didn't feel good. And I struggled to find like what felt good to me. I had eaten so many egg beaters. I think I could probably never eat another egg beater in my life. And what I learned was that over time, I kept trying to chase what worked for someone else. And there was nothing out there that was guiding me to look inward, to look at my strengths, to see what felt good to me, to empower me, to give me the tools and the wisdom to learn to work with who I am. Instead, I was trying to reject who I was. And that is a problem. And that's what so many of us are doing. We're trying to deny our reality. I can't deny that I'm 5'3", I'm curvy. My body will never build a 6-pack unless I'm willing to sacrifice everything. And I'm not. And over the years, I'm 45, and over the years, I've learned that I had to get really honest with myself with what I will and what I won't do. And once I was able to do that and use all of these skill sets that I teach in the book of mindfulness and learning how to embrace who you are and celebrating for what you can do, I was able to turn myself around and really get into perfect alignment to what works for me. And that's the whole foundation of the book, The Right Fit Formula, because the truth is, Christina, every diet is a medically or scientifically successful pathway to lose weight, but is it your path? Does it resonate with you? Does it make sense to your body and your mind and your lifestyle? You know?
I love that you're mentioning all this. There's so many wonderful points you're making, because I did the same thing for years. I think when I was 13, I did this thing where I just starved myself. I said, that will do the trick. And actually I gained weight, which later on I found out your body goes into storage mode. It's like, okay, no more calories. We're just going to, anything we get, we're just going to hold on to.
Yes.
that
Absolutely.
That definitely didn't work. But the other thing I did, which I'm sure you talk about in your book, and I'm sure others have done, is as you just said, you look to others and what they're doing, and even the results they're getting, and that, well, if I just do what they do, I'm going to get the same results. And what I came to realize, actually getting more in tune with my own body, as we discussed before the interview, is really this one person could have a totally different body type. They could be a stick figure, where I'm more of a pear, and someone else is more of an apple shape. And so what works for them will give them one result. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get that result. And
that's exactly right. You don't share genetics or lifestyle or perhaps personal chefs. Why expect to share the same results? There's no logic in that.
Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because one thing I started working out with, I don't know if you've heard of this, they came out in the 80s, it was called firmdirect.com, and it was this exercise system where it's exercise videos, but I loved all of the exercise peeps, but one that I really kind of got pulled to was one that had the same body type as mine, but if I were to have the best kind of shaped body, if on my fitness program, I would look like her body more or less, because we have the same body type. So she became my role model. Like, hey, one day if I work at this and put forth effort to increase my awareness of my body and get more healthy, I could one day look like that, the body shape, not her. So I'm getting closer. In my 30s, I had gotten to a point working with the firm that I'd gotten to my best body shape, but I was not eating well. The component that was missing was I was exercising 4 to 5 times a week, and I was loving it, but the diet was out the window. And now when I hit my 40s, as we talked about earlier, your body starts to tell you, hey, this not eating right isn't working for me anymore. And it begins to tell you, no, you can't do this. And so then you start looking at, what do I need to do for my body? Now, how did that work for you? You didn't just change your eating habits, you also changed your fitness.
Oh, absolutely. I had never been injured before the age of 30. I've been really very fortunate. I'm a runner. Running was one of the most difficult forms of exercise, but for some reason I'm a leader type personality. I really thrive in competition and individual sports. So I decided to tackle on running, which had been the most difficult thing to do, and sort of master it. And now learning about myself, I learned it's very in alignment to who I am and what I like to achieve, because I started to really pay attention to what felt good. As an Italian growing up, I really did not like to eat pasta. Every time I ate it, it really made me feel bloated. And I would get teased, like, what kind of Italian are you? You don't eat pasta? That doesn't make sense. But I started to clue into all of the things that made me feel good and then that made me feel bad. And today, that's how I direct everything I do, whether it's work related or whether it's workout related or whether it's related to food. I really clue into the one single factor and try to honor, does this feel good? And if it doesn't feel good, it doesn't matter, because the truth is we're never going to stick with it, whether it's an eating plan, whether it's a workout plan. You just have to find what feels good to you, because that's the encouragement. That's the magic pill. That's the secret that athletes have, that people who stay consistent have, is they do what feels good to them. But more importantly, Christina, they do what naturally complements their skill set. Like for me, I would be terrible at a boot camp class. I don't like being told what to do, and I'm not one who follows along. Again, I'm much more of a leader, and I talk about these different personality types in my book, The Right Fit Formula. But so I would not thrive in that environment whatsoever. I also don't like spinning. It really hurts my hip flexors, or yoga. It's way too slow for my fast-paced mind. And that's okay. I learned to embrace that about myself instead of trying to fit in and figure out, hey, my best friend is doing this yoga class. Instead of feeling bad about not going with her, right? I decided, let me just pay attention what works for me. And then I started to align and embrace, like, ooh, I love Pilates. Ooh, I love running. I really like learning how to be a faster runner because that works with my energy system. That works with my mindset, you know? And I think that's what we all could do is connect and go back to a sense of play. Forget counting sets and reps and, you know, boot camps and burning how many calories. That's the wrong type of mindset for anyone who wants to lose weight. But the proper mindset would be is, again, what feels good? What are you most excited about repeating? That's going to keep you consistent, because the thing to remember, Christina, is the most important part of any routine is consistency. And the only way to build consistency is to do what feels good, because you're never going to continue on with something that doesn't feel good to you.
Yes, absolutely. And that, I love that you mentioned getting in tune with your body and feeling when it feels good when you're doing something, not only when you're exercising, but when you're eating. And for me, when you mentioned the pasta thing, I love pasta because I love the way it tastes. I love the tomato sauce and marinara and all that good stuff and the cheese. But I found, just like you, I felt horrible and bloated, and I kept not giving it up. And it wasn't until I just decided, okay, let's just do, and this is the thing that I was doing, and I'm sure a lot of other people do, is that you're like, I have to do it all or nothing, right? And I said, no, let's just do it bit by bit. You know, we're going to do this for a month and see how it feels. And then we're going to do it for 2 months and see how my body is talking to me. And I found that I was feeling so bloody awesome after being off of pasta and bread for like 2 months. That I was like, I just was like, I don't even want to touch it because I just love feeling the way I'm feeling. And I'd only at that point lost 10 pounds, but just not feeling that uncomfortable bloating or whatever was just tremendous. And after, also another thing that I think that maybe the pasta and breads were contributing to is this kind of exhaustion fatigue. I think maybe my body was just overwhelmed by what I was giving it to work with, and it couldn't process it or get rid of the waste. So once I started eating healthier, I was not drained and exhausted every day I would get home. I would just like want to eat more snacks and more stuff that wasn't healthy because I was so tired. When I started cleaning that up, I now had energy, and now I could even comprehend the idea of doing some sort of exercise. And now what I'd like to ask you is, interestingly enough, when I started the exercise, it wasn't always feeling good because I hadn't exercised in like 10, 15 years. And so it was kind of a lot of effort. But what I found is if I stuck with it and realized that, hey, if someone's doing an hour class of weightlifting or whatever, but I'm not ready for it, I will do 15 and walk out because this is what I can tolerate right now. And I feel good with it. And then I'd come back and I'd do 20 minutes. Or how did that work for you?
Sure. Well, first of all, congratulations. I'm so excited more than ever as a coach to hear someone really embrace who they are and really be able to pay attention to who you are, because that's exactly what it is about. It sounds like you are really listening to yourself and to your body. And then more importantly, Christina, you're honoring it. Mm-hmm. And we have got to honor who we are in order to make any plan be successful and work. So I thank you, and I'm excited for you that you were able to do that. Now, how I like to make exercise work, and I think this is important and true for anyone, is you just start off with something that you know you can do, because immediately you've got to build confidence. Yeah. Number one, confidence is going to be the foundation of your plan, of your consistency, of your success. So even if that means walking around the block 1 or 2 times, that's something that you know you can do. Set the bar really, really low, because this way, once you complete it, then the next time you go out to do it, you can add on to that, and you can add on to that. And this is really important for you. It might seem really minute, but it's really not, because each one of these small steps really turns the dial forward 1 click at a time. every single time. And then I would also say, celebrate your body for what it can do. I'm really big on embracing the now, because we spend too much time, in the from now. I call it the from now disease, and I talk about that a lot in the book, right? But we need to embrace what our body can do now and celebrate it. So forget comparing, right? Compare despair. When you compare yourself to someone else or what you used to do, you despair, and that's a waste of your energy and time. And if we're talking about really becoming your best self, at any age, you need to focus on what you can do. So your body is an amazing body. It can do many things: stretching, walking, pushing yourself, again, one step at a time. I've got a 55-year-old client who recently wanted to get back into exercise, and the workouts we do, and she is having an amazing time. We're doing a hula hoop Pilates workout.
Oh, I love it.
And and she's staying active. And you know what? She's losing weight, and she's feeling confident and sexy and having fun, and she can't wait to do it. And all of those things, those are the important factors for that generate and that move our success forward. So there, again, no counting reps or sets, or forget going to exercise to lose weight. People need to shift their mindset and think about working out is to feel good, right? So how can exercise complement what I want to achieve in my life, how I want to feel in my life? And then people will stop torturing themselves with HIIT classes or boot camp classes, unless that's aligned to your personality, right? And if that's what you're into, then I'm 100%. But most people go do workouts that have nothing to do with them and feel horrible because they think it's going to burn the most calories. And exercise is not about burning calories. It's about feeling good in your body.
Wow. I love that you just went there, Christine, because I heard a personal conversation at this place I consult, and there were two women talking about a HIIT class they were taking. And they were talking about how miserable they felt and that their knees were hurting, and there's this competitive spirit, and they're not keeping up with everyone. They felt like crap, both in their body, but also confidence-wise. And they say, oh, I'm going to do it again. I'm like, but why? You're 20 years old. Your body is probably in its best shape ever. Being young and you're paying attention to what you're eating. Why are you torturing yourself like this? And it's really something we've been taught or kind of conditioned that, if you feel bad, then you're having progress. And I remember a trainer telling me, hey, no. If you're feeling pain, that's bad. Burn good, pain bad. Pain means you're doing something wrong, he said. I was like,
right. Right. My motto is no pain, no pain. And that's why I spent so much time in this book talking about how to really align with what works for you and what feels good to you, Christina, because you can't compare yourself to what someone else is doing. That may be totally out of alignment. Their athleticism, their genetics, their mindset, their lifestyle, their food intake, they all may be different than you. So I'm saying be a trendsetter. You are the trend. Forget, the new fad workouts or the new fad diet plans. What works for you? I used to, as a trainer, get so much crap for not liking spinning. And I would get people calling me and texting me and Facebooking me, oh, you're just not doing it right. Your form is right. I'm like, no, I'm smart. It just doesn't feel good. My body hates it.
Yeah.
My mind hates it. And it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And I decided, you know what? That's off my list. Why am I trying to be good at something that doesn't make any sense to me? And the same with yoga. I've got invited to a million classes, and I'm a meditator for a very long time. And people are like, oh, you're going to love it. And for me, I hated it. The whole environment I can see it being beneficial for certain personality types, which gravitate towards it. But my head hanging forward and downward dog, I was getting dizzy, and it didn't make sense to me. And so I had the courage to say, no, thank you. and move on to the things that make me feel good, dancing and moving. And, I happen to have a philosophy of, I like to move with purpose. I like to know exactly why I'm doing a specific movement and how it's going to benefit me. Others may, I don't care about counting calories. I don't wear a watch. Mm-hmm. I don't calculate things except for distance in my running, because that I do like to calculate in time. And that's what I want to say to people. Like, there are certain personality types. I talk about these in my book, the leader. This is the leader type. We like individual sports, racquetball or tennis or that's running. And then, right? Okay. And then the socializer, they're like, hey, the group fitness, like they're like the Oprahs of the class. High five and everybody. Can't wait to see the same people. Yeah. They're gonna post their social media success, post their stats on social media, and then the supporter, they're the ones who are like, hey, they're only going to the same exercise class every day, as long as it's on the way to the grocery store to drop off the kids from school, and and they can multitask. And then the planner personality type is the one who loves all the data crunching and the statistics. They're like, hey, where's my Fitbit? They cannot wait to go home and plug in their Fitbit and calculate all of their calories, and then write it down in their journal, and then calculate. And they're the ones who like sets and reps. So I'm saying everything works, Christina. It's just what works for you. Help yourself get into alignment to make this process so much easier for yourself. Because I feel for you. I made it so difficult for myself for so long to try to follow what worked for somebody else instead of really embracing what works for me. And when I learned to say, screw everything else, and pay attention what works for me, my life was so much happier, and weight came off, and my mindset was clear, and it was just so much easier.
Yeah. And you brought up something earlier that's so important that we forget about. When kids play, they don't call it exercise. When they go out and they're moving and they never stop moving. Oh my, I look at kids and I'm like, where do they get this energy? They are always in moving. And this is exercise. It's moving, just moving. And as adults, we get so sedentary. We're just sitting at our desk. I go to the park, I sit down and read a book, and then I do the show. I'm sitting down on my buns again. But it's all the sitting as adults. I remember a kid saying, adults are so boring. They go to a party, they sit there and they drink, and they're sitting in a chair. Whereas kids are playing in the pool, they're running, dancing, whatever. And you mentioned play. And I think as adults, we think, oh, we can't do that. That looks silly. Or I'm an adult. And I'm like, no, we can do that. We can get silly and crazy and go out there and play like we did as children.
Absolutely. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to have the freedom to do that, because there are two important things to remember. Any movement is progress. There's any movement is progress. And stop waiting for the perfect moment. We don't need the perfect 30 minutes or the 1 hour. We don't need the weights to be with us. We don't need anything. For me, I turn on my 80s music. I could dance. I could do jumping jacks. I could do a jump rope. I can entertain myself. I can get into that zone very quickly. And that's what I suggest for people. And as a matter of fact, in my book, The Right Fit Formula, I have so many different workouts for these personality types that include play-like workouts, because I'm a big believer that you've got to enjoy and have fun. And there are no rules. There's no perfect right or wrong. There's no right or wrong workouts. There's no right or wrong way to eat. It's just what works for you as the individual.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that part of your book. Also getting in touch of who are you as a person, your personality type and your body type, and listening to all of that. What makes me tick and what would work best for me and my lifestyle that would make me happy. It's what I loved about this one guy. He's a super, the leader type that you mentioned in your book. And he said, I don't like the idea of wasting an hour in the gym. That's not working for my time. It's precious. So what he did is he went to, Amazon, and he got this small treadmill, and he put it underneath his desk, got a standing desk. Bam. He's walking all day long. He said, I walked, 8,000 miles in 6 months or something crazy. And he said, now I drive my wife crazy. We go to the mall, and I want to park at all the way the other end of the mall so I can walk as much as possible. He's obsessed with walking everywhere now. And his wife was like, oh my gosh, can you turn it off? But he's lost, I think, 30 pounds. He said, I'm the weight I was in college. I never felt better. He's in his 50s. But that worked for him and his lifestyle, and he just loved it. But yeah, you got to find out what worked for you. And I loved his story that he just fit it in. I'm just going to put it on my desk, walk all day long while I'm talking to clients, and get it done.
That's exactly right. Get her done in a manner that makes sense to you, and I love that, and that's what this book is about, is really encouraging people. And the cool thing is that it's 100% customized to every single person. So you and I, when we did this book, we'll never have the same plan because we're so unique. Yeah. We may be similar personality types, but once you get into the book and you start filling in, you take your quiz, you find out what personality you are, and then you find out all of these other things, like what your core values are and what's meaningful to you and how you spend your time and your energy and your self-talk and the way you, stress and like to de-stress. It evolves to a different plan for everyone. And that's the important thing to remember. We're all different. Yes. Like, let's, raise our hands and celebrate. Hey, if you like chocolate, raise your hand and say, hey, I'm a chocoholic. Great. But now you can learn to work with it, right? Yeah, work with who you are. I'm a big believer in taking the best of who you are and stretch it for your success. This way, it's so much easier than trying to spend energy on something that is completely out of alignment to who you are, that won't work for you.
Absolutely. And where can everyone get a copy of your wonderful book, The Right Fit Formula?
They can get it on Amazon. It's being sold on Amazon right now, Barnes & Nobles, Goodreads, and IndieBound. And I'll be doing a live event in Los Angeles, which is really exciting, at the Barnes & Nobles in the Grove. It's their premier location on March 31st. My special friend, celebrity Tracy Edmonds, is going to be my guest moderator. We're going to have a really fun event. We'll get to take the personality quiz for a lot of people. And they can find the book also on my website at christinelusita.com.
Yay. And you have a lot of wonderful resources. You have a blog and other stuff that people can check out there as well. And it's been just so fascinating and wonderful connecting with you. And I hope that it inspires everyone, because we're here now entering in the middle of the year and people begin to say, oh, I had plans in January, but I've completely fallen off the wagon. What the heck? But no, you can get back on that wagon anytime, find the best diet lifestyle. This is the thing. I don't like the word diet. To me, it's a bad 4-letter word. It's lifestyle, the best lifestyle that worked for you. And I'm so grateful you were able to share your wisdom on that subject today. Thank you so much, Christine, for coming to Savvy Business Radio.
Thank you, Christina. It's been great. Have a terrific day.
You too.
Savvy Business Radio broadcasts worldwide via a large podcast network, celebrating business owners, entrepreneurs, influencers, and successful individuals. Find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest. Call 732-474-7375 or email Christina@savvybusinessradio.com.